Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. My name is Carlos Marroquin. As you know, we try to be here every Sunday and to bring you the latest on the issues that you care about. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing our podcast with others and the information that we provide here for you. Tonight, I'm flying solo, so we'll be specifically talking about some of the latest issues that we are seeing right now develop, and some other issues that have been on the works for a while, including the housing crisis uh, that is really affecting a lot of people. We're going to be talking about the strikes, unionizing. We have today there was a march over in New York City on climate change. So we're going to talk a little bit about all those things. But we want to welcome you wherever you may be watching us from. I am here in Hollywood, California. Glad to be here. Have been doing a little bit of work on different issues as of late, meeting with a lot of people. We have tried to always uh, be on the ground and talk to the people so that we can understand the issues better and we are able to organize our community in better ways and more effectively. We are going to be having a follow-up part two of organizing our communities. As you were aware, a couple of weeks ago, we had our guest, Michelle Byrne. By the way, she's celebrating her birthday. Happy birthday to Michelle Byrne. Also with us on that time was our good friend, Betty Dumas Toto. And we started the conversation on how to organize our communities. We're going to continue that. That was part one. On September 24, we are going to be having our part two of that same conversation, organizing our communities. So we're very excited about that because, as you know, the issues that are affecting our communities are very real. It affects a lot of people, and we need to understand uh, and be effective on the issues that we care about and that are affecting our communities. Um, and many of those issues are not new. They have existed for a while. There are issues that are really bugging down our communities and really uh, bringing so much negative effect on them. So, uh, look, we if we wait on government to do things for us, that may never we may never get the light of the day. Um, just waiting on them. Uh, the fact is that some of the issues, for example, the housing crisis, this has been going on for a while already, and climate change, another one, right? All that has to do with the environment. Those are issues that have been existing for a while. We have the discrimination, the racial tensions, and et cetera, a lot of issues that existed. But what we are seeing now is that there are more people being engaged to these issues. There are people that are rolling up the sleeves and saying, I'm not going to be waiting on government. I'm not going to be waiting on our elected officials to to uh, to handle this because they're not going to handle it, or they're going to only patch it up. They're only going to put a band-aid to the issue. So people are getting creative. Some people want to do something, they just don't know how to get started, and this is why our clinics that we started giving on organizing communities are so important because it provides information, it provides resources in some cases uh, on organizing your community. What do you need to do, how you can get started, what are the steps to be able to take so that you can start seeing results in your neighborhood, in that block where you live that you live in, and that is pretty much chaotic sometimes because of how negative being affected by by many different issues. And some communities are really being affected by multiple issues all at once. And you just wonder how is it that our communities can even uh, thrive in any way when there's so much levels, coming against them, um, poverty that rules a lot of these communities, and lack of resources, et cetera, et cetera. But it is when people come together that we are seeing great results. We are seeing people's needs being met, if you will. Is because people understand that we have to take care of our own communities, and we got to step out because no one else will. And it is very inspiring when we see that. There's many ways that we learn how to organize, and most of the time is because out of necessity, because we see the needs and no one is doing something about it. The people step in, and they use their own creative ways to organize the best they know how. But in many other cases, as I say, there are people out there are communities that have no one fighting for them. But there are people that want to do something. They just don't know how to get started. But we're here to help you. We want you to get started. We want to give you some ideas of things that you can do just to get you started, just to get you off, taking the first step. Um, so really important, September 24th, we're going to have again Michelle with us. That's going to be giving us information on how to organize our communities. So very excited about that. But uh, some of the major things that we are seeing developing right now, and of course, is at the front and center because it affects literally hundreds of thousands of workers. And we're talking about the strikes that are going on right now. Um, we have multiple unions, multiple industries. Right now, their workers have voted to authorize strikes. Some of them been on a strike already for several months. For example, the Writers Guild of America, they have been on a strike for over 3 months. But they are not alone. They being joined by uh, other unions like SAG, the Screen Actors Guild. We also see other unions that have not gone on strike but are being affected. Their members are being affected because of the strikes. For example, IATSE. This is part of the entertainment industry. So the work has come to a stop. But there's many other people that other union members from other unions that are being affected by the strikes. And also there are non-union workers that supply a lot of support services to the entertainment industry that is also being impacted by the strikes. So this affects not only the union members that are walking out and going on strike, but also people that are pretty much connected to these industries, including restaurants. We have all kinds of small businesses that depend uh, on the industry having jobs and being active and spending money. So again, hundreds of thousands of people being affected by the strikes. We also had this past week uh, the United Auto Workers that have also authorized a strike, and they started their strike against General Motors, against Ford, and against excuse me, Stellantis. So these are three major out of industry that have authorized the strikes and are out there uh, really taking everything that they can and doing everything they can to fight for what is just and right for the workers. If you look at reasons why people are striking, it's pretty simple. We see that the wages continue to be frozen. Uh, People's wages are not going up, yet the cost of living continues to go sky high. And you know, you wonder sometimes how do people even make it, even when they have a job, even when they have some form of secure jobs. How is it that people are making it? The cost of living is just insanely crazy. And you know, if we don't strike, if we don't unionize, if we don't fight back, the CEOs of these corporations, they don't care about the workers. They will have us right now earning, $2 an hour if they could. And when it comes to their pay, it's insanely crazy how much money these executives get. And they have no problem paying themselves millions of dollars. And the profits that these corporations are getting out of the labor of the workers is humongous. There is plenty of money. There is plenty of money so that everyone can strive, not only the CEOs. So if it is good for the CEOs, it is good for the workers that are actually doing the work. So these are the things that the workers are fighting for. They're working for fair pay, fair wages, livable wages. It is, again, it's insanity that we have to go to work as many hours as we need to have to work. And sometimes we have to find two jobs or whatever, just so that we can pay the rent. And that leaves us no money for nothing else. So if you think about why it's important to unionize, why it's important to take a stand, why it's important to fight back, is because if we don't do it, things will only get worse for the workers. So when you see workers out there unionizing, workers out there on a picket line, we have to give them so much respect because they are sacrificing everything to take a stand for what is just and right. Not only for themselves, but these affect other people as well. And it is inspiring to see the workers out there really taking a stand. And they just like you, like me, like others, they have bills to pay. They have their mortgages to pay. They have to pay their rent. And right now they can't because they're not drawing a check. So clearly it is important for us to understand the necessity of unionizing, to fight for safer working conditions, for fairness in the amount of hours that we have to work and the kind of compensation workers need to have. It is very important, to fight for those things. But to be able to give these people our support is very important, because today it could be them or they are them. Tomorrow it could be us. So we need to support each other. We need to come together because, again, it's pretty much the people against them, the 1%, the people that want to keep everything, the people that have no problem authorizing raises for themselves, but when it comes to the line workers, to the people that are doing the heavy lifting, they don't want to give them anything. So don't buy into this thing that that the actors are paying, are getting paid, and they have a lot of money because they don't. For example, that I know the people at SAG. I talk to them all the time. The average actor out there is not getting the millions of dollars. It is just a minute amount of um, of of actors that are actually getting the high pay. Not everybody has the great gigs. Not everybody is doing a big time multi-million dollar movie and having a contract. Actors have been struggling and they struggle. But this is the industry that discriminates so much against the little guy. So we want to make sure we offer our support because again, when we are talking about people that go on strike, we're talking about the people that do the hard lifting, the hard work. We also had this past week workers from the healthcare industry, Kaiser Permanente in particular, that have authorized strikes in 3 states. That is Washington, Oregon, and here in California. Colorado Colorado authorized the strike last week, the week before. So we have the healthcare industry, nurses, and the support groups that support workers and other healthcare workers that have authorized this a strike. And right now we are waiting to see what's going to happen. We're going to wait to see what happened because the people again are really demanding fairness in wages, in working conditions. Right here at Kaiser, not too far from here, it's actually just behind me, Kaiser Permanente on Sunset. They are so understaffed. A couple of weeks ago, I had an emergency, and I actually, as you know, I suffer from severe asthma. I showed up to the urgent care to see a doctor, and do you know that they denied me to see a doctor? Because they said they were booked out for the day. It is insane. And I pay, I have insurance. Yet I was not able to see a doctor. And that is totally against the law. I had to open a formal complaint against Kaiser Permanente. Because I could have actually had died right there. And they had no staff. And that's the kind of stuff that workers are fighting for, are going on strike for. They doing it for their patients. It's not just for themselves. They doing it for their patients as well. So when you see people out there on strike, yeah, you may think that they're just fighting for themselves, but they're also fighting for other workers, for their clients, for their customers. Companies now, corporations, they want you to do more with less. And if we don't stand up, if we don't unionize and fight back so that we can be able to have adequate hours of work so that workers can actually focus on the work and the good work that they do and do it even better. So the outcome, again, is chaos because they pile up so much work on the workers with less pay, with less everything, and more of everything else. More work, more hours, more poor spaces of work where you see a lot of tensions at work because of the unsafe working conditions. Well, unions fight against those unsafe working conditions. And we must understand, and I don't know how to say it better, but we must understand that their fight, their struggle is our struggle. It's going to be the struggle of our sons and daughters. They're fighting as well for their future. So that these corporations understand that they need to treat workers better and fairly, and that they would not take advantage, of their labor, but pay them fair compensation. I'm not against them making profit. I'm not against corporations making profit. I'm against when they are so greedy that they want to keep it all to themselves and give nothing to the people that actually make them successful. So that's what we have to think about when we are thinking about healthcare workers, wanting to go on strike because there's not enough doctors or there's not enough personnel to assist in there. This is critical, people. Or when the actors, they being affected by artificial intelligence, and they just want to use them, but not compensate them. So there's many things behind, the issues that a lot of times these corporations want to spend on. There's things behind it that actually is all about their own greed and their own wanting for more for themselves. So we see this kind of fights, taking place right now. We have the hotel workers that have gone on strike as well. My goodness, man, those people, they give everything, and they, when we think about the work that they do in the hotels and how a lot of these women put their lives at risk because there being incidents where there have been unsafe working conditions in there for them. And if they don't unionize and they don't demand safer working conditions and protections for the workers, who else is there to fight for them? So I believe strongly on unions, because if it was for these corporations, we will have nothing. They will just give us crumbs. So all power to the people. All power, to the workers. We need to be union strong. We need to spread, and actually that's what's taking place right now. Unions are taking big steps forward. We had recently UPS that actually won. And some people say, well, they got a real good deal. They got a fair deal, a decent deal, but it wasn't great. When you match dollar for dollar with the economy and the cost of living, we're still not getting enough. When I look and travel to other states and I look at the level of poverty that exists, everywhere in the United States, you wonder, and then you see how much compensation the executives and the CEOs are getting, and the kind of profits that corporations are reaping. It's like, it's unbelievable, the disparities. So we must unionize. We must fight back. You saw what happened with even the fast food services. They will have them earning no money at all if they could. But thank God that there are unions that are organizing and workers that want to be organized in a union and be part of a union, and they are fighting for others as well. And they bringing, inviting, them, the other people, the other workers to bind together and form unions. This is so critical, so important right now, because they will fight for you. I know I represented letter carriers as a union shop steward, and I cannot tell you how critical it is to have representation at work. Because if it was for some of these supervisors, for some of these managers, they will get rid of you for nothing, just because they don't like you. They don't like the way you look. They don't like the way the way you walk. Almost anything. And the kind of abuses that exist, even when there's union presence at some of these work sites, is unbelievable. The kind of lies and kind of and oppression that a lot of these supervisors bring to the workers It's unreal. So thank God that there are unions that are fighting back and represent their workers well, and will take a stand against these abusive practices at job sites. I saw it firsthand, people. I saw how managers would lie, would make up things just to get rid of an employee because they didn't like him for some reason or another. And most of the time, it was not because he wasn't a good worker, it's because they didn't like the person for some reason. Because, again, this person was doing, a good job or expose them on something or whatever. So they will retaliate against the worker, or because they will demand that they needed to have equipment so they could do their job properly, and all of a sudden they want to fire them. I can tell you story after story of abusive, working conditions at work. So unions are very important, people. And the people that are standing on those picket lines, they are heroes. We need to protect them. We need to celebrate them. We need to stand with them. So keep in mind our hotel workers. Unite Here are fighting really strong throughout, representing, those the line of workers that provide services. They do a good job. We congratulate them for who they are and how they fight back in behalf of their members. And we cannot go down pushing with one hand. We got to push with both hands. That requires participation. That requires for us to support our unions. Yes, you have to pay dues. Yes, there's certain things, obligations that we have to do on our side. And some of the unions that are not doing a good job represent their memberships. We need to put pressure on them. You need to go to union meetings and find out what's going on. It's not just joining a union and say, okay, everything is gone. I'm going to go about doing my business, and they're supposed to just represent me. Get involved, people. Find out what's going on. And if you don't like something at your job site, and you feel that your union is not representing you well, go talk to them. Ask to speak to the officials. You have that right as a paying union member. You have a right to have a meeting with your union officials and find out what's going on. I always say, put everything in writing, people. Put everything in writing. But whatever you do, unionize. Unity is strength, as it has been said. So here in California, what we have done through AIDS Healthcare Foundation, the people that employs me, as you know, I'm the national director for Food for Health programs. We establish food programs in different communities around the United States. And what we decided to do was to offer our workers support, the striking workers. So about 3 weeks ago, on Labor Day, actually, 2 days before Labor Day, we started a food pantry, a free farmers market, actually, for the workers that are on strike here in Los Angeles. It has been such a success. People are showing up. We just held it. We're holding it every Saturday now. And our commitment is that we are going to be offering support to striking workers for the duration of the strikes. This is what needs to happen. We need to put resources for them so that the workers feel love and that they feel that their fight is our fight and we are with them and we are lifting their hands when they are tired and when they are worried because they cannot pay their rent. We have to find ways that we can assist them. So over our food pantry, our farmers market rather, we are going to be inviting some of the organizations that provide support on housing and tenants' rights. So that's going to be part of what we are doing to support our workers that are on strike. But can you imagine if all of us come together like that everybody brings something to the table so that workers, can have the even more confidence of what they have in knowing that the community is behind them. And I tell you, I talk to a lot of people up and down everywhere, and everybody tells me how excited they feel about the unions taking a stand. They are inspired. They're inspired by that. And a lot of people are saying, I wish we had a union at my work. Well, I tell them, well, you need to start talking to other workers and start, organizing yourselves so that you could also join a union and be part of a union, become a union. So I'm going to see, hopefully in the near future, if we can invite a union representative to be with us and explain us a little bit about what it takes to become a union, to bring a union to your work site. I think it's going to be really important. But right now, again, every Saturday here in Hollywood, we are running a free farmers market for union workers that are on strike. And also those people that are not on strike, that are being affected by the strike, like IATSE, for example. That's part of the entertainment industry, that their workers have no work right now because everything has stopped. So you have people that do lighting, you have people that have to do sound, you have all these other workers that are also affected by this. So we welcome anybody that is being affected by the strikes to come to our food pantry, and we're going to make sure that they have groceries for their families as well. So very excited about that. And this is part of, again, Food for Health at ACE Healthcare Foundation. We are looking to other ways that we are going to support the workers, including we're looking at they have a specific account where people can donate money to that will go specifically for the workers to support them. So we're looking into all that, and we're going to have some news coming pretty soon of some additional work or support actually, and that we are going to be doing for striking workers. I'm talking to our CEO from the foundation. He's very excited about what we are doing to assist to assist our striking workers, and this is just the beginning of what we are planning to do. So you could go to our Facebook page or Instagram and take a look at some of the pictures of our farmers market that we are doing. And by the way, the volunteers that are coming to run this farmers market are all union members that are on strike. So these are union members supporting other union members, other union workers. And they are able to focus in helping each other. And I tell you, man, yeah, I'm just, all over myself. I just cannot, tell you how inspired I am when I see the workers coming in there, union workers that are on strike, volunteering, so that they make sure that the events that we are holding to help union members are successful. So shout out to all the volunteers. This past week, we had 30 volunteers that showed up. And they set up everything, and help us, run the whole event. And I have never seen the kind of dedication. I mean, it's just like, I guess because they're already in the entertainment industry and they know how to organize and flow that thing. I just literally just stand to the side and they unload the truck and they set up in less than 20 minutes. They're already like done. It's unreal. But, they get excited. They're smiling, they're sharing, they're talking, they're talking about, what's going on in the strike and what have you. But look, it's very inspiring. We have other opportunities right now. Like I say, we're going to be inviting some of the housing advocates to come and provide assistance to those union members that are struggling either with their mortgage or with um, the rent, possibly some facing already eviction, because what we need to also understand is that a lot of these unions, when when the workers authorize a strike, they already have been struggling. And a good example is the entertainment industry, because not everybody has work. Not all the programs are running. Not all the gigs are taking place. So talking to some of these union members, they're telling me that they were struggling even prior to COVID. And after COVID opened up and some programs came back, some didn't, they still struggle to get work. So it's been hard for a lot of these people. So the union it was just another thing that they needed to do to try to get back on track. So with that being said, people, it's like we need to understand that our struggles just didn't start yesterday. It's been going on for a long, long time. And this is why it's important for us to come together to support our brothers and sisters that are out there on the picket line. So I cannot say enough of this, because I think it's very important for us to participate and to offer support. All right, so let's move on. Another topic that I'd like to talk to you about is today, actually, in New York City, there was people came together for a march on climate change. Estimates from the organizers say that there was between 75,000 to 50,000 people that came out to march. And this is because of the continuing issues relating to climate change. As you know, things are not getting better. And this Wednesday, the United Nations will have a climate summit, or at least that's what they're calling it. But it is meant to highlight the climate commitments from different nations. And the thing is that, nations go over there and make commitments, but they are not keeping up with them. Here in the United States is a good example of that. Early in the year, the Biden administration actually continues to approve, historic amounts of number of leases to continue to extract from the earth. And there was a project over in Alaska, I believe it was called the Willow Project. And again, we are looking at these things in a way that, I hear you. You say you want to that you making commitments, but you're not following through. So we getting mixed feelings or mixed signals coming from the Biden administration. They say one thing and they may do another. I know that they recently recalled some of the leases that the Trump administration had given in Alaska. So shout out to them. But it's like, you gotta be consistent. And this is what these what climate change advocates have been asking for. It's consistency and being aggressive, because there is no second planet. This is it, folks. So today's march was very important. I know that Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez marched, and she quoted that this is too big and radical to ignore. And again, I am inspired by our young people that continue to demand action on climate change. It's not going to go away. And when the election is coming up right now, we know 100% for sure that the Republican Party have no interest to address climate change. Zero interest, zero. Even though that some of the states, some of the red states, some of the strongholds on the Republican Party are the most affected by this. It's insanity, people. It's insanity. And they continue to call it a hoax. But we need to continue to fight back, push back, and organize our communities. There's different levels of that in which the environment is affecting communities and cities. It's different ways, but everybody's being affected by this. We talk about migration, and Republicans, love to trash uh, immigrants and people seeking asylum. But some of the reasons why people are traveling to the United States, escaping some of these countries, some of the conditions, is because of climate change. Here in Central America, Guatemala, Honduras, they being affected heavily by climate change. So if we wanna, properly address issues, because everything becomes interconnected, is we need to address, the root of the problems. And if we continue to ignore, in this case, mainly the Republican Party, they continue to ignore all this, and they want to deregulate all these corporations that contribute heavily on the effects of climate change. It's not going to be pretty, and it's going to be more costly. By doing nothing, it becomes more costly, and it becomes worse. So in Florida and California, we saw big insurance companies actually pulling out. They don't even want to provide services because it's costing them too much money. They're putting out record numbers of money payouts because of climate change, and they have said that. So that tells you a lot, when even insurance companies don't want to be around because they see the waves coming. They see the fires continuing. They see destruction, in massive ways that actually can break them. So a little investment right now can save you tons of money in the future. And that's, we have to see this. That's the way we have to see this, is that if we don't address this now, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. So, every study that has been done, scientists have been calling this left and right. But again, the Republican Party refuses to accept this because they are too busy protecting these big corporations. Here in California right now, gas just went up to almost $6, if not over $6 in some areas. That's gasoline, folks. To put gas in your tank. You're not getting the wages. You have high rent, high everything else. And on top of this, you cannot put gas in your car. And we want to continue to drive in the same road that we've been driving, and continue to create, chaos when it comes to climate change and fossil fuels. It's insanity on top of insanity. So there has to be change, and that is more than just, putting out some kind of numbers that look good on paper but do very little to actually help the situation. People are demanding aggressive actions. And I understand, look, I think that the Biden has some ideas. He wanted to do things, but, people give in to corporations. And then the other problem is that you have the other party that's pulling the other way. So, we have this situation in the United States that is pretty much a tug of war, but nothing gets done because big money controls this. So either way you pull, it's not going to go nowhere. Because you have, again, a lot of the same problems that have always existed, and that is the number one problem in politics in America, the number one problem that that exists in policy, creation of policy that will actually affect people in positive ways is money. Money prevents, you know, us for actually thriving as a country, as a people. We have judges that have been sold out to big interest. The Supreme Court has been sold out. We know that, you know, they have a super majority right now controlling the Republican Party by the Republican Party, and we have seen a lot of these cases that they have heard of, they have literally ruled, you know, in their favor, and they pretty much have no shame about it, and we see the donors that are flying them everywhere, taking them to, you know, $100,000 vacation in jets and everything. And these are the Supreme Court judges. And they sitting and hearing on these cases that gives them favorable results. So folks, you know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done when it comes to climate change. But what gives us hope right now, what got us so exciting, is to see the 75,000 people that showed up today in New York City, coming from everywhere. That tells me a lot. That there's young hearts out there, that there are hearts that are on fire, because they understand that if we take no action, if we don't organize our communities, if we don't demand these changes, it's only going to get worse. It's their future, people. And I am so glad to see our young people out there fighting, and we need to support them. We need to support our young people that are advocating for the issues that affects the environment, climate change. So we salute our young people because of their courage that they have, and many of them are being very creative, in presenting the issue. And I think that people are seeing, you know, the results of their work, because more people are now understanding how critical this is. Not only because, again, you know, it's a big role that they have taken on, but the results of climate change that is hitting at people's doors are so real. People are scared out there now, and the government are not giving them hope. It's these young people that are giving people hope. So we got to continue that. We got to continue to support our young activists. And I have always said that if you're an old-timer organizer, if you've been around, you know, around the block on organizing, please grab a couple of young people, mentor them, you know, impart to them, share with them, you know, techniques of organizing, show them, provide resources for them, you know, unite with them in their efforts, show them you know, how to do things the way you learn, give it back to them. I always say this: whatever I have learned, people, belongs to the people. So if anybody wants to learn anything that I know, it belongs to you, it belongs to them. I gladly give it to them, because, you know, the experience that I have learned belong to the people. So if it is about, you know, creating better communities, if it is about empowering our young people, if it is about teaching others the lessons that we have learned, they belong to you people. So I'm gladly give it to them. But that should be the thinking of every activist out there, of every organizer. What good does it do for you to have it, you know, sitting down doing nothing and not sharing the information? You know, we do this because we care about our communities. We care about people. So if you don't want to share information as an activist, to other young activists that are coming up, then shame on you. Then you done everything in vain. You done it for selfish reasons. We should look for every opportunity to share our knowledge with others, especially those that are thirsty and hunger to fight for justice. Please, people, I beg you, if you're an activist, share your knowledge with others. Teach them how to do it. Introduce them to people. Share your contacts. Share your contacts, people. I like to take people when I have meetings. I like to take young people with me to come with me in those meetings, especially when it's meetings with people of influence, because I want them to learn. I want them to have confidence that we can bring changes when we organize, when we participate. And our young people are smart, they brave, they know what they want. Some of them need a little help. Let's help them, people. Because, again, everybody wins when we do that. And the experiences, the knowledge that we have been able to receive, we have to share that back. We have to give it back because it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to the people. So, again, we are going to continue these kind of conversations as we see a lot of these issues developing. We have the continuing housing crisis here in not only in California, really, there's a problem everywhere now. Everywhere I go. Actually, I just came back from Baltimore, and one of the, some of the poorest areas in the country is so bad out there. We are looking to open up a food pantry over in Baltimore. Very excited about that. So look for some of the news by AIDS Healthcare Foundation and Food for Health programs, because we are in the early stages on organizing and creating a food bank, a food pantry, farmers market style type of thing, where we bring fresh products, fresh produce, vegetables, and all the good stuff that the essentials that people need for to have access to healthy food. So we're looking to open up within the next month or so over in Baltimore. So excited about that, and I have met so many great people, community leaders. So I'm going to be going back and forth there for a minute. And again, we're looking to continue to expand the programs. Right now, we're doing a lot in different areas. Hawaii, we are talking to you right now. We continue to talk and organizing some events and some assistance for the people in Hawaii, over in Maui. Aloha to you. And we love the people in Hawaii. We are talking to some of the farm workers over in Molokai, which is the island right next to there, and talking about bringing vegetables in boats. And they actually, take their boats and bring it to the areas that are needed. So I'm hoping to actually invite some of these people that I'm working with right now to talk to us and share, the latest on Hawaii. But it does my heart good when I see, movement like this, when people participating and people not waiting for the government to do something. Because I tell you, a lot of these areas that have been hit really hard, they're not getting the resources as you would think. I saw that. I actually seen that in every major catastrophe that we have participated on and we have done relief for. When we get out there on the ground, we find out that a lot of communities have been forgotten. They're not getting the help. As you know, as it is here in the United States, the well-connected are the ones that are going to have everything. They are the ones that are going to have the first of everything. The leftovers always go to communities that never get anything. Pretty much the leftovers. So it's the same thing right now what we are seeing in some areas in Hawaii, where there's some communities that are not receiving what they need to receive. So there are a lot of resources that are coming in, but not enough. They still have a lot of problems with because there is no work. A lot of people lost their jobs, so it is somehow chaotic in many areas. You have a lot of the investors trying to take advantage of the circumstance, and they're trying uh, to get a lot of this land, and it's troublesome because again, this is the gentrifiers, developers that want to take precious land away from the people, and they will wave money in front of them because they know that people are desperate. It's a state of sadness when I see that, because these investors take advantage of anything and anyone, and use the people, use their pain for their advantage. Shameless, totally shameless, heartless people. But again, that happens everywhere. It happened in Puerto Rico. One of the biggest problems out there is because people are not getting assistance to repair their homes. Even a year, 2 years later after a hurricane, I saw that recently. Actually, I went to Houston, and when we had the big hurricane out there, uh, Hurricane Harvey, by the way, that was a while back, about what, 4 years ago. A lot of the people out there never got the money to repair their homes. So guess who's there now? The gentrifiers. And I will say, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but a lot of these things are done in purpose, because they have coveted some of these lands for a while, and they couldn't get rid of the poor people. But by not giving them money to repair their homes, they force them out. That's another tactic that they will use. They will starve them, pretty much. We see that like with the school system, for example. That's a good way of explaining this. The public schools. So they cut all the funding, they starve the schools, and they say, look, the schools are failing. They're not meeting the goals. Why? Because you're not putting no resources to them. That gives them an excuse to privatize education and to bring all these other private schools. So that's pretty much similar to what they do with a lot of the housing lands and all these areas that investors have coveted them for a long time, that they wanted these lands. And now it's a perfect time for them to push the people out, wave a little money in front of them. So this is the greed of America, of the United States. This is the greed that we live under, and how they want to have full control, and they want more and more for themselves. So again, we are going to continue to have these conversations, and housing is not going to go away, and we are going to continue to see a decline when it comes to housing, because there's not enough being built. Very, very limited new affordable housing that is being built. And as we speak, they continue to build on unaffordable housing, at least here in California, and some other areas where I have been able to see and travel to. But housing is a major issue, and they have no solutions for it. They have very few solutions. I just recently was interviewed by Univision regarding an article that came out in the LA Times on one of the nonprofits that are pushing for more encampments, urban balcony. They actually want the city to approve, uh, you know, several $1 million um, to create more encampments, tiny homes. But these are almost like I would call it like a military encampments where you have a whole bunch of tents. Look, that's a waste of money. And that's pretty much what I say to them. And I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry, but I'm going to speak the truth. All those things are a waste of money because those are temporary shelters, don't work. I mean, they're necessary, but if you're going to invest your money into that and continue to invest your money into that, we're throwing money away. We need to create permanent housing. There has to be a super major investment in housing. I keep saying that. The numbers that they give us, the money that they are putting into this is minute to what it needs to happen. We need to mobilize the Army Corps of Engineers, create some massive housing like we have never seen before. And along with that, there has to be services provided. But, and again, not everybody needs services. Not everybody needs mental health services and other kind of services. When you have people out there that cannot pay their rent because it's too damn high, that tells you a lot. And if there's no safety net for anyone to fall under, then we just create the situation worse. So the investments that we are putting into housing are minute to what needs to happen. I have called for a freeze on luxury development until we fix this crisis. That's what needs to happen. And by the way, here in Los Angeles, we got to end up this system that we have at City Hall, where you have all these developers and stuff that come in and out of there and continue to influence City Hall. And by the way, the problem that we have here is because we have very few city council members to such a huge amount of population. We need to expand city council. We need to double of the amount of city council members that we have right now. Minimum, we need to double the amount that we have now. Why? Because you have so much power to very few people in such a large area. So if we want good representation, we have to break down. We have to break the amount of territory that these districts or these city council members have. We have to break it down so that actually neighborhoods or communities will have somebody representing them. And I don't even see how some of these city council members can handle, such a big territory, such a big area with so many people. How can they do a good job? You're giving too much power to a very few people. That has to stop. If we want to see changes in Los Angeles, we need to expand City Hall, city council members. That's what I meant to say. We need to expand city council members to a minimum of double of what we have right now. At least we should have at least 30 city council members, at least 30 of them. And that is still too much power to a few. But as it is right now, it's just insanity. It doesn't make sense. Why give so much power to very few people? So if we want to address housing, these are the things that we need to do. These are the steps that we need to take. And I shared that with Univision on last week's interview. And I'm looking forward to continue to speak out on these things. We have a proposed not a proposal, actually, it has been accepted here in California that's going to be on the ballot next year. There's a measure to bring rent control to all of California. Any city that we want rent control will be authorized to have rent control if they choose to have it. That's going to be in the ballots, people. And right now we have the apartment association and the Department of Real and the real estate industry pushing back big time, and they have recruited other industries, big money, to join them to push back. They are committing like $200 million against this measure. They don't want rent control in California. But guess what, people? This is exactly what we need. We need rent control. So we're going to be campaigning on that. I actually going to be part of a coalition, and we're going to be working in this campaign. And if you want to join us, please let us know. Justice for Renters. Justice for Renters. And that is to bring rent control to California. Looking really forward to working on that campaign. And we're going to push as hard as we can, people, because the time is now. People cannot afford their rent. And the vast majority of people in California are renters. We have more renters in California than anything else. So this is why it's important for us to have rent control. And enough is enough. We don't need no more people unhoused. We need to fight back. We need to push back. We need to organize. We need to do whatever it's going to take. And people, my time is up. I actually have gone a little bit over, but I am glad that you joined me tonight. Thank you for sharing the videos, the broadcasts. We're going to, continue to bring the clinics on how to organize our communities. Our next event will be on September 24th. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. And our guest is going to be, again, Michelle Byrne, along with Betty Dumas Toto. And we have others lined up already to bring some of the clinics to you and where they can impart some of the knowledge on how to organize communities. Mark your calendars, October 18th, we are going to have an event over here in Hollywood. Spoken Word event is pretty much food for thought. The name of the event, Food for Thought. It's spoken word event. We're going to have poetry, live poetry, and it's going to be here in Hollywood. I'm going to be sharing more information on that, and that is in benefit of our food programs. So we want to continue to open up more food programs in California and other parts of the country. So we're going to, there's a lot of work that we are doing. We're also helping other organizations that have no resources in their communities. So rather us going and open up another food bank in those communities, what we are doing, we are actually empowering those organizations that have been doing a really good work in their communities but have no resources. So this is why it's going to be important. We're going to do a series of fundraisers specifically so that we can provide more for people. Very excited about that. So, the holidays are coming. We're starting to organize for the holidays as well. I am traveling to Dallas next week, but I will still be with you. We are doing the work, like I say, over in Baltimore. As soon as we have that all set up, we'll make the big announcement. So if you live in the Baltimore area, you can come and join us and volunteer in our food programs in that area. So thank you for joining me tonight. I am here in Hollywood, California, and I'm very excited to be with you and share a little information on the issues that you care about. Please take care of each other. Support the strike workers. There's many people out there that are taking a stand, and we celebrate them. We thank them for their courage to take a stand, against unfairness and injustice. And it is time for our workers to be respected, to be treated with dignity, to have safe working conditions, and to have livable wages. It is high time for that. The time is now, people. So, union strong, don't look back, keep pushing forward, take care of yourselves. If you know somebody in your community that is an elder person, please go knock on their door. Check up on them, make sure that they're okay. This is the minimum that we can do. Just, go knock on the door. Sometimes you have to do it at least a couple times a day because some people are very fragile and we need to take care of our elderly. So I hope that you're one of those people that actually care about your community and are willing to step out of the box, out of your comfort zone, and just participate. We love you. We appreciate you. We send our love to you, and let's continue to fight. Let's continue to join the forces, and let's continue to stand strong together. Thank you again. From here is Stand Up, Fight Back, where we discuss analogy, strategy for the progressive movement. We love you. Take care of yourself.